Okay, welcome everyone to another video brought to you by Chess.com and International Master Rensch. Today we are going to cover a very important basic technique and something that will improve your ability to play not only king and pawn endings, but the particular endgame in front of us. It is about learning the technique that the queen can use to stop the enemy pawn from queening. In a situation just as you see here, where obviously white is happy about the fact that she has a queen now, but black's last move was probably something with the pawn pushing forward. So we have a situation where our king is on the other side of the board, and we know that if our opponent is able to queen that pawn, the game is going to be a draw. Because king and queen versus king and queen, the majority of cases with only a few very strange, weird mating net positions, is a theoretical draw, and an easy one, of course. So we call this technique the magic square technique because the magic square is a square that changes depending on which pawn is threatening to queen for the opponent. But it's a technique, I've used that phrase in teaching this pattern to kids and in scholastic groups because magic sounds fun, right? And it's easy to remember what the square is, so forgive it if it sounds like a little kid problem or phrase, but it doesn't matter because what matters is that the pattern is memorized and that you can use it in your games. So how do we prevent our opponent from queening and therefore equaling the game? There is a simple pattern and technique. When you first look at this position, sometimes players will try to bring their queen to the side and give lateral checks. The problem with this is regardless of how close the queen gets, you cannot force the king to move away from the two squares he needs to be on in order to threaten a queen. So maybe they try diagonal checks, but they notice the same sort of thing. They cannot force the king away. Eventually they figure out, even if they have no idea about the pattern, they figure out that the queen needs to be behind the pawn. The reason is that by checking from the king from behind the pawn, you either force me to move directly in front, or, which we'll talk about why is bad in just a second, or you force me to move temporarily to the file that is away from the pawn. In either case, white has a forcing way to make progress. But before we even move forward, I want to reiterate what we're going to learn here is a technique that applies for every single pawn. Again, with a couple exceptions. As usual, the rook pawn will be an exception for us since it always seems to have its own set of rules. And in this endgame, there is also an exception, not quite as well known, but the bishop pawn can also be an exception to this technique. We're going to learn all that here. So the first thing we do is let's do it the right way.
We hope you enjoyed this video demo from Chess.com. Subscribe today to finish this video and get unlimited access to our full video library. Your membership also includes access to Chess Mentor, the most advanced interactive training tool available anywhere. You'll also get full access to the Opening Explorer, Tactics Trainer, and much, much more. So sign up today and get serious about improving your game.